Hey friends, Mario Cavallo here. We are going to do another comfortable, happy, friendly riverside walk and talk. Hope that sounds good to you. Take a look. We are here along the beautiful Quinn River. I got to watch the sun, the glare from the sun. Look at this beautiful tree. This is my favorite tree behind me right here. Absolutely beautiful, big old tree. I want to show you how, look at this, the trunk on this baby. Look at that. What a beautiful tree. From there, from one side to the other, that thing is about 6 feet across. How you doing, friends? I'm just going live to make a video, so I didn't announce it that I'm live. I'm not expecting an audience. I'm just making a video to update everybody on the many things that are happening, too many of which are a joke, unfortunately. I start with the happy and wonderful things, and really proud to announce that my Liaoning Daily My China Story video that was nominated for the My China Story annual video competition. It's a big deal here in China. Wow, wonderful. And happy to tell you that won one of the award categories. There's several award categories. I can't even remember which one mine got submitted in. There's like 5 or 6 categories. And my category had 4 winners, and for the Outstanding Video Award, and mine was one of the 4. And my screen is stuck. Okay, we good? We good? We're good. So I'm excited about that because it's all about promoting Liaoning province. You know, I mean, I'm so excited to tell you all about Dongbei culture. I'm so excited to share with you how wonderful Northeast China is. And I'm going to keep remembering to look here. I'm talking to you. The lens is on this side of my mobile phone. China is the largest, safe, stable, successful, capable, and civil country on the planet. That bothers a lot of people. It embarrasses the West. The West is having so many problems. But you know, the other thing I want to mention is that besides the fact that we need to blame the corrupt politicians and leaders who aren't doing their job, because that's the only reason a society, why do societies fall apart? Because the leaders of the society, the government people responsible to govern the society, don't do their job. It's very simple. If they did their job, everything would be okay. And like in China, you know. So they don't do their job. It's really unfortunate. But skipping that for a second, you know, China's on the rise and the West is on the decline is also about the big cycles, right? You know, the 7, 15, 30, and 60-year cycles, the economic cycles. Don't forget about that. I mean, it's not today's politicians' fault that America's infrastructure is now 50 years old and falling apart and needs repairs, and the municipalities don't have any money to make those repairs. Whereas China's infrastructure is what? Pretty much brand new. You see what I mean? So this is a very important point. You can't blame everybody. You can't blame the politicians for that. I mean, this is just also a matter of economic cycles. And you all know, this is Gann, what's his name? W.D. Gann, so many other economists, that societies go, come on, my screen got stuck again. Make me mad. The societies go like this, and they peak, right? And then growth becomes difficult, and they start going back down and having problems. And that's America from post-World War II boom, right? So, you know, come on. Let's be a bit empathetic about it. I mean, people think because I complain about the bad things about America, I'm anti-American. Oh, he lives in China. Oh, he's anti-American. No, that's nonsense. I'm not anti-American at all. I'm anti-people not doing their job. I'm anti-war. I'm anti-idiots. I'm anti-killing people. Okay, I'm anti-corruption. I'm anti all those things. Okay, My father's rolling in his grave what America has become. The place is a mess. Okay. So that's not being anti-American. That's just speaking your voice about things that bother you, which are rather obvious, like, warmongering all over the world and killing people. I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? So again, those things don't make anybody, talking about those things don't make anybody anti-American. I want China to do well. I want America to do well. I want the people in these countries to do well. I want the people in Italy to do well. I have more personal passion and romantic attachment to the fact that I'm Italian than the fact that I'm American. Why? Because I'm from Italy. My mother, my father, my grandparents are all from Italy, Basilicata region, from Grottola and Vietra de Potenza in Basilicata in south central Italy, down near Naples, a couple hundred kilometers from Napoli, right? So, I feel passionate about that. It's like, I wasn't born in Italy. I was born in America. Well, what the hell? I was a kid. I don't know where I was born. What do I care where I was born? Right? So I'm happy to say I care about all these countries and want to see them do well. Don't you? Do you want to see America be ruined? Why would you say that? That's horrible. Why would you want America to be ruined? Okay? You don't want people to have bad lives. Do you like seeing Syria ruined? Happens to be ruined by the American military and government. So again, yeah, blame the Americans. Okay? Those are political issues. But do you want to see Syria ruined? Or Libya? Or Italy or France? Do you like seeing, looting and fires and protests and violence and death in cities? Do you cheerlead that shit? I hope not. See what I mean? So I want will you goddamn governments just do your job, please, for the people? And no government on planet Earth is doing more and better than China for its society and for its people. That's democracy. Okay? And by the way, here's a controversial thought for you. In terms of principles and Judeo-ethnic principles, okay, China is more Christian than the West. Okay? I don't mean religiously it's more Christian than the West, but ethically it's more Christian than the West. It really is. Okay? I mean, here in China, I found out, I recently did, and the next thing I want to talk about is so I mentioned the My China Story video that I won. I'm so happy about that. That's wonderful. And I'll put the link down in the description later and you can go check it out. The second thing I want to talk about was what I did last week, which was a bit controversial. I did a survey which got the exact result that I knew it was going to get. Some people then accused me, 5 or 6 people out of 950 who voted, accused me of loading, of biasing and loading the survey by speaking the truth. No, I didn't load the survey. People have brains. They know how to think. They understand these things, and they can answer the question. And the survey was specific to the Mandarin audience in Mandarin. It wasn't in English. In fact, I tried to fit some English in, and I didn't have enough space, and I shouldn't have even bothered because the English wasn't complete. So that caused a little bit of confusion. But the target audience answered the question. It was in Mandarin, intended for the Mandarin audience, and I sent it out to about 3 dozen of my Chinese Twitter followers and all the ambassadors of the embassies, CCG, Center for China and Globalization, etc. And I don't know exactly right now. I don't remember exactly who retweeted it, but the result of the survey was wonderful in that the survey got like 954 votes in 3 days. So I was very happy about that. Look, I'm not famous in Twitter. I don't have 100,000 or 200,000 followers or even 30,000. I've only got 7,000 followers, right? So I don't expect big things to happen, right? So if I do a tweet and I get 100 likes, I consider that an enormous success, right? So, if you get 20 or 50 or 100 or 200 votes on a survey, you can go, no big deal. But I got 950 votes. That's almost 1,000 votes. That's pretty freaking good, no? All right. And the answer to the survey, I'll tell you the survey, the details. The question and the answer was in Mandarin. Okay. And the question was, this is in English, if China ended its zero COVID policy tomorrow, you would be 100% free, like in the West. No more worries about lockdowns, etc. Okay. But many of your parents and grandparents would die. Same as is happening in the West. You with me? So, do you want to cancel zero COVID? Yes or no? And then the survey was yes, I agree. Yes, 同意, which means I agree, or no, 不同意, which means I don't agree. That's it. Now, that was an honest assessment. I checked it with my Chinese friends. In fact, one of my Chinese friends helped me write the Chinese. I could tell you the Chinese, the pinyin, 如果 da 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 da, 取消 zero 那个 COVID 整规 da 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 da. Okay, fine. I can't say it off the top of my head in Chinese. Forgive me, but I could, if I had it in front of me, I'd be like, yeah, no problem. I can explain it to you. My Chinese is pretty good, but not great. Not that good. So I knew what the answer to the question was because I'm already living it. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm already living it. So I know the answer. All right. And sure enough, 85% of the people that voted came back and voted no. We wouldn't cancel zero COVID. 15% said yes. And it fell on exactly the lines that I knew it was going to fall on. And more importantly, there was about 60 comments down below, and they indicated to me what's going on in the minds of the Chinese, which was, we're a society that protects our families. We protect our parents, our grandparents. Health matters most. We sacrifice the economy. It's difficult, but we're not going to let our people die. It's just simple. It's just like we care about family most. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was like, all right, I get that. And I certainly agree. I have a mother-in-law who, if COVID was going around everywhere, she'd probably catch it and die. She's not that healthy. I don't know about you, but I don't want my mother-in-law to die. I don't want my grandmother to die. I don't want even my older parents to die from COVID, or get long COVID, or end up severe in the hospital. I don't disagree with what I just said at all. And the vast majority of people who live here, including the Chinese, don't agree with what I just said. Don't disagree with what I just said. They haven't left. They're still here. Now, on Twitter, everybody says, I know people who left. But I think half of them left. I understand. I'm not saying it's not divisive. I'm not saying it's not difficult. Have I said it's not difficult? Did I ever tell any of you that zero COVID is a piece of cake? Did I ever tell any of you that? Zero COVID is no big deal. Getting quarantined for 7 days if you get test positive and getting put on a bus and taken to a quarantine place, which is basically just an extension of the hotel, because the hotel, extension of the hospital, because the hospitals themselves don't have enough beds, which is why they built the quarantine centers. They're just extensions of the hospitals. Okay. And those overcrowded hospitals problem existed in the West. China knew that if it didn't do zero COVID, that the same overwhelming severe hospitalization problem would happen here. They know they don't have enough beds, 1.4 billion people, otherwise great hospital system. So they knew the limitations. They're like, no, this is how we have to handle it here. Thank God they did. The rest of the world, which is like leading us into global collapse economically right now, if you haven't been noticing, would have already been much, much worse if China had been much, much worse. Nobody's thanking China for keeping their shit together. China has kept its shit together for 3 years. Okay, George Yoon, former Prime Minister Singapore, I think, check his interview out last week. Okay, he said it very clearly. If you look at China's economic numbers, the only country that had positive GDP growth on the planet last year and the year before, if China had COVID spreading all across the country like it did in Wuhan, like happened in Hong Kong, like happened in the West and is still happening in the West, if China had that same situation, how do you think China's economy would be doing compared to how it's been doing for the last 3 years? So China's zero COVID policy kept the economy on track. Something all of you seem to not, many of you, sorry, seem to not want to understand is that 90% of the time I live in a major Chinese city. We all live in a major Chinese city with zero COVID cases. Let me repeat what I just said. And I'm using 90 as kind of a number. It could be 83.6. It could be 94.2. I don't know. But I do know that over the last 3 years of the COVID pandemic, the number of days that I and all citizens living in a Chinese city, this is 1.4 billion people. No, this is 700 billion people living in the cities, because the other 700 live more like out in the countryside in the little villages. Okay. The 700 million of us, me, my wife, my mother-in-law, Chinese, all of us have lived 90% of the last 3 years of our lives in a city where there is no COVID, zero cases. I call that peace of mind. Okay? Peace of mind. We live in a place where there's no COVID cases. Do you understand that? I don't know how to put this. I feel like I want to say it again. 90% of the last 3 years on the calendar, I live in a city where there's zero COVID cases. How about you? Where do you live? How many COVID cases are there in your city? Okay. If you live in the West, it's freaking everywhere. Okay. You've now got 500 today, even with the milder, quote, milder variants, you still today have tens of thousands of people in the hospital. The flu does not do that. And you have, in America, about 500 people a day dying. 500 per day. The flu doesn't do that. The flu kills an average of 20 to 50 people per day, statistically. Okay? COVID today is 10 times worse. People with long COVID symptoms are dragging down the economy. You've got severe health problems associated with the pandemic. I'm not getting into the vaccine thing. I'm strictly talking about the fact that there is this COVID pandemic, and it is not the flu. It is 10 times worse. I've lived for 90% of my days in a city with zero COVID, 8 million people. You just multiply that by 200 cities and you've got China. Okay, that's what it's been. Now, along the way, is it perfect? Hell no. Hong Kong spun out of control for a while. And then you're in a mess and your personal life is really stressful. And people pointed that out to me. And I'm like, yes, I know. I'm not saying that's not true. I hear you. I'm not in denial about the fact that when those severe situations have happened, they were severe. They were nasty. I was on the phone constantly, like twice a week, with one of my very dear friends in Shanghai for the last 20 years. He throughout the whole thing, 2 months in Shanghai, what was going on, you know? So I fully understand, okay? But I also fully understand that the majority of the time, like I keep saying in this particular segment of this video, is that 90% of the time, we all live in a city where there's zero COVID cases. And that is a hell of a good thing, okay? Now, in order for that to happen, there is an economic price to be paid. And yes, I get that too. I'm not denying it. Retail's getting hurt. Restaurants, retail stores, hotels, travel and tourism. Absolutely. Revenues are way down. And so, yes, it's like pick your poison. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? So the economic pressures and difficulties here, and one particular German fellow who I regard so many of the Germans in the community here as my dearest friends, and the one guy is, you know, pragmatically ranting and raving, telling me about how it's so bad, and he's clicking off the list of how it's straining the economy and ruining business, and I'm going, yeah, I get that. So all the businesses are being ruined. The economy is being wrecked in the West in different ways. The economy is being wrecked in China in different ways. I get it. No denial. I have one comment. We don't have dead people. We don't have dead people. You see? This is what I keep trying to explain to everybody. Say, there's a reason why all this is happening. There's a reason. Don't lose sight of what's going on. Why is China in zero COVID? Why is China in zero COVID? I told you when I did my survey and I got the response and the replies from people. We take care of our health. We take care of our families. We're not going to let our family get sick. We'll sacrifice for our family. What is the Christian ethic? The Christian ethic is sacrifice. Clearly and plainly, the Christian ethic is sacrifice. It's selflessness. Okay? Being Christ-like is selfless. I'm just talking spiritual terms. I don't care if you change religions. I don't care about the religion. Okay? The teaching. Okay? What the exact story of the guy named Jesus in the Bible is the story of sacrifice. You sacrifice yourself for your loved ones. Your sacrifice redeems, and your suffering later brings the redemption in some other kind of joy and love that comes later. This is not life. Anyone tell me this is not the nature of life? Does anybody want to tell me this is not I tap on the phone screen because my screen on this side gets stuck. I don't know what's happening on your side. So I tap the screen to try and get it to unfreeze. All right. So this is the Judeo-Christian ethic upon which all of Western society, meaning Europe, America, even South America, was built on. The Judeo-Christian ethic. The root of the Judeo-Christian ethic is, I don't want to talk about the Catholic Church. I don't want to talk about the Protestant Church. I don't want to talk about religion. I'm just talking about spiritual teachings, virtues, okay? Being a good person, okay? The guy named Jesus walked the earth and preached, okay? And he said, and he sacrificed. He sacrificed himself for everyone. Sacrifice is at the root, okay? What does it mean? It means I'm thinking of everybody else. I'm not thinking of myself. Somehow, by taking care of everybody else, I end up getting what I need. I'm okay. Now, on a personal level, I personally understand this because years ago, halfway through my marriage here with my darling wife, I became much more philosophical and much more spiritual. And I was like, what would make my marriage really, really blossom? And as I've gotten older, this is the wisdom of age. Call it what you want. I don't know. See my silver hair? I'm getting old. Call it what you want. All right. Philosophy, spirituality, I don't care. Okay. But I do know that I decided that I was just devoting myself to other people and not concerning myself with myself. I have what I need. I'm fine. I don't need much. I don't want much. Okay. I want to be healthy. I have a home. Let me tell you what I have. I have a wonderful family. I have my own home. I have a beautiful wife and I have a beautiful son. Okay, fine. So then what should I do? Right? Well, that becomes enhanced because I become selfless. Because I tell everybody who asks me, okay, what is going on? Who am I? What's going on with my life? And oh, hey, I'm devoted to my wife. My concern is her well-being. Notice I didn't say my concern is, oh, I love her. I don't know. Some days I feel like I love her and other days I don't love her. I don't like her. Do you hear what I'm saying? You have days where you don't like people. Okay? So it's nothing to do with I love you, honey. I love you. I like you. I like you. You're my best friend. Oh, you're my best friend in the whole wide world. Really? Okay. So, those things go up and down and come and go. What doesn't go up and down and come and go is the commitments, the decisions that you make, the devotion, the commitment. And this is strictly only about you. Okay? This is only about you, what you decide. And I am devoted to the well-being of my wife. She is part of me. I am part of her. Okay? And I am devoted to the well-being and care and guidance for the future to prepare our soon-to-be 11-year-old son. Okay? Listen to me. Everything else is a distant second. You with me? Everything else is a distant second. It's not like, oh, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, I made my list of priorities. No, 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 no. It's first and second, and then the rest, way down there. Okay? Because if you don't have that core base of your life, everything else falls to shit, right? So I notice here in China, again, this is why, as many of you know, I'm totally against the rise of the neoliberalist movement, which I regard as the cancer that has destroyed Western society. Has Western society been destroyed? Yes. Is it being destroyed? Yes. Is it the neoliberalism? Yes. Okay. I mean, these things are evident. This is not an opinion. They're evident. Okay. Has there been some benefit to it? Yes. It's good that there's some increase of inclusion for people who are otherwise left out of the society. People shouldn't be discriminated against. Okay. They shouldn't be discriminated against because they're a minority or the color of their skin or because they're gay. Okay, fine. Don't discriminate against people. Okay, so all those situations have improved. Okay, in some situations, even they say, oh, women were mistreated. Well, now men are the ones who are being mistreated. If you're a white guy in America, you're against the grain. You're actually the one being mistreated. Isn't that interesting? So I'm good with all that. There's some improvement. There's some benefits to all of that. But overall, you see the downside of the neoliberalist, progressive, cancerous, leftist agenda, and it's a nightmare. Do I think it's a nightmare? Is it my opinion? No, I can just see with my eyes what's happening in the society. The society is incredibly unstable. Okay? Combine that with politicians who aren't doing their job. And you have the recipe for the disaster we are all watching. Okay? Now I can go on and on and on about that, and I don't want to. I want to stick to what's happening here in China. And what I said to you is, again, this zero COVID survey that I did showed very clearly that people are, and the society here is still a traditional society. Okay, it's still a traditional society. It's very bad that divorce is going up in the big cities here. It's very bad. The degree to which a society gets away from the traditional family marriage as the root of the society. Okay, you got to accommodate everybody else. Yes, you got to accommodate everybody else. You can't treat low-income people badly. You have to accommodate gay people who don't have a traditional marriage family type situation. Be accommodative, be empathetic, all that stuff, absolutely. And they are here in China. People tell you that there's discrimination problems, there's a need for like against gays here in China. It's not true. They're left well alone and do very well. I walked into the gay bar in Shanghai a few times many years ago in Shanghai. Okay, so that's not happening. Not because I'm gay. And same with women. People, again, Western. I don't know. These people are crazy. They try to tell you that there's a women's rights problem in China. I have a response to that. To suggest that there's a women's rights problem and the need for feminists here in China is like a bad joke. Okay, I won't even go into that anymore. Just I said it. That's the case. Women in China are treated incredibly well overall. Of course, you have the small percentage of men who treat women like pigs, men who are pigs who treat women, like chattel, and those women as well. But these are a very small. They're a small percentage of the society, right? And they're in every society. So once again, we have China, the traditional family culture society. Thank you, God. And I find out that is the value that underscores why Chinese people, you say, why are Chinese people going along with zero COVID? They're not arguing about it. They go along with it. Why? Because they have this common sense, and this common sense to them is based on their overall set of priorities and values, which is not their individuality, but their family, which is exactly what I just said about, for example, me and my own family. I'm an Italian American. And I just always had a traditional idea about family. Don't believe in divorce. Okay? You want to fix your life? Your life's got problems. I was telling my friend a story the other day about another friend I'm going to change all the following details because I don't want anyone to have a clue about who I'm talking about. Okay. So there's a guy I know from Czechoslovakia, and he was living in some city in China somewhere in the Northeast, in the Northwest. I don't know. I'm making it all. I'm making up this. Who I don't want to identify the guy. And we were having a chat, and he'd become a good friend, and he's telling me, this and that. He's having a good time, and his wife's not. He's not having a good relationship with his wife, and he doesn't know if he loves her, and he's got 8, 9-year-old boys, and he's kind of worried about them. And meanwhile, she's making the big bucks, and he's kind of more independent, and he's fooling around with the yoga teacher, and he's really enjoying drinking the beers with me and telling me about these wonderful sexual escapades with the yoga teacher. And I'm huh. And then again, he throws in that he's concerned about his marriage, and he's talking to me, a guy whose marriage fell apart 20 years ago, 25 years ago. My first marriage was a disaster, and this is like an emotional nightmare I wouldn't wish on anybody. Okay, for all parties involved, the kids, the husband, the wife, the whole thing is a nightmare, right? So you want to avoid that, right? Every good marriage counseling and divorce counseling book says you want to avoid that at all costs because it's actually worse than what you're currently experiencing. So you're much better off fixing your marriage. Okay, but that's just another thing. And I said to him, I go, so I do executive coaching. I've coached, CEO level guys, $500 an hour. And I mean, if I was to give you $500 an hour advice, but was to give it to you for free, I mean, are you asking for advice here, or are we just drinking beers and, cheers? Yeah, she had a nice ass. Yeah, great. Are we just talking? Are we just having, man talk? Or are you asking my advice? I mean, do you think you're concerned that, down the line, you're going to maybe hit the wall here and it's going to go off the rails? What? And he goes, yeah, actually I am, I'm worried about it. And I go, okay, well, here goes. Okay. Stop boffing the yoga teacher, you fucking idiot. Get your ass home. Take care of your children. Take care of your wife. Be devoted to your family. They're your family, you fucking idiot. That's what I told him. Okay. And by the way, in the world of psychology and NLP, that's called a pattern interrupt, where you intentionally whack somebody in the head with a very heavy, figuratively speaking, 2x4 to jerk them out of their ridiculousness because they think it's okay. It's not. They rationalize the fact that they're boffing the yoga teacher and neglecting their kids and neglecting their wife, and they need to be snapped out of it by this kind of an aggressive pattern interrupt, which is what I did. I'm a communications guy. And whoa, guess what? In his case, I'm happy to say he listened. He was like, oh, really? Wow, incredible. So again, family means you don't care about what yourself, your own needs. What needs? I don't need anything. What I want and need is to have a nice family. So I don't think of myself. I think of them. What do they need? My devotion and concern is the well-being of my wife. My devotion and concern is the well-being of my son. My devotion and concern is the well-being of my distant daughter. And that's it. Okay? And from there, you get taken care of. Right? So you just take care of family. You keep life simple. Family in China, people are just like, you go to work, you do your thing. You go to work, you do your thing. You go home, you have a nice meal with your family, and you do it again the next day. If you want to be an entrepreneur in China, you're free to be an entrepreneur in China. You can pursue any damn thing you want. You don't want to have a job or a career? Fine. You can go start a business tomorrow. They make it very easy now to register. But there's like 50,000 businesses a month or 3 times more are registered every month in China. You want to be an entrepreneur? You can do whatever you want in China. You can pursue your life, liberty, and happiness. And that's your freedom, 100%. Actually, it's easier than it is in the United States or Europe, okay? And you have freedom of movement. You're safe here. You're free because you're safe, okay? You're walking along the river. you're with your kids, grandma, and the little kids. Nobody ever thinks about safety here. Okay, crime, guns, violence. I mean, there's just no words to describe what kind of freedom that is. Okay, and these are the realities of the situation in China. People in the West, they don't want to get it, they don't want to believe it, they don't want to understand it. Next subject. I don't even want to talk about it. You've got idiots. You've got what they're doing in the West, gaslighting your butts about China. The degree to which they're gaslighting all of you on China is outrageous. They're trying to give you the impression that China is not stable. Is that the economy, the real estate market is collapsing. It is? Really? I'm just like, okay, wait a minute. So over the last, let's just say 10 years, okay? Over the last 10 years, your homes in the major cities in China went up in value. No, wait a minute. Let me do this accurately so people don't accuse me of being inaccurate, okay? We lived in Shanghai in 2000. We left, okay, good. When we left Shanghai in 2007, apartments were worth 20,000 a square meter. When we went back in 2010, they were, or something like that, they were worth 40,000 a square meter. And the same kind of thing happened in Beijing and Guangzhou. And then finally they're up to like 80,000 a square meter these now. But that's just the main 3-4 cities of the main 3 or 4 first-tier cities of China. Okay, in the rest of the country, real estate rates are more normal. Okay, like where we are here in Shenyang, an apartment 10 years ago was worth 5,000 a square meter, and now it's worth 10,000 a square meter. Okay, that's kind of reasonable. The downtown best apartments are more higher priced, like 20,000 a square meter, even more in the primo locations. But generally, all over the country, it's the kind of price range that I just said to you. Okay, in the second and third tier cities, which is 90% of the market. Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen is only 10, 12, 14% of the real estate market. And of course, that's where prices are crazy. In the first tier cities, the same as Tokyo, London, New York, Sydney, Vancouver, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Paris, etc. Okay, but that's not the whole country. 90% of the country is not those places. All right, so there's this normal stability that exists all over the country. Okay, this is the main thing that I want you to understand. Again, tapping on my screen because it's got stuck again. I'm going to take a moment to say hello to people in the group. Voltaire, thank you very much. Yeah, my China story video. That's really nice that it won that award. I really appreciate that. Hi, Kevin. How you doing, buddy? Somebody else is in the group with the Chinese name. I can't read it. Sorry about that. I'm going to walk along here. Let me give you guys a nice view of the river while I'm thinking, and for this live stream. Just anything else I want to share with you? Yeah, this is nice. Beautiful shot along the river, huh? Really beautiful. So people don't want you to understand. The people in the West, they're talking about this collapse stuff. And other people, you follow major pundits and you think, oh, well, they're major pundits. They must know what they're talking about. And they don't. The degree to which the information space, the information bubble that you're getting on China, the degree to which it is malign and accurate and inaccurate and distorted is boggles my mind. I got to tell you, it really boggles my mind. I just can't believe it. So I'm telling you this. Whatever the hell it is you think you're hearing, just, I'm telling you, dismiss it. Dismiss it. 100% dismiss it. Okay? China is, this you can count on. What I always say, China is the largest, safe, stable, successful, capable, and civil country on the planet right now. And that's what it is. Okay? You got fantasies in your head that Xi Jinping has conflicts and problems? Really? Now, and I got people who say to me, oh, yeah, no, there's a lot of Chinese people who are really pissed off right now. You know, Xi Jinping's in trouble because they're so unhappy with the way zero COVID has been handled. Okay, if you say so. Again, I'm not denying that there's been problems, isolated situations, but I'm telling you point blank, 90% of the country still, as ever before, is in full support of their government. They know how good China has become over the last 20 years, and the government made it happen. Okay? And this is the reality. I don't understand why in the Western media they make a fuss about Xi Jinping staying in office. Well, I don't know about you, man. I want a successful leader to stay in office. Okay? Change the laws for that? Who cares? Why not? Okay? In the meanwhile, you got the monarchy in the UK. You got people in office. You got Congress and senators. They're career people in office in Washington. It's like a joke. There's no limits. Okay? And these are the same people pointing fingers at China. It's like, what a joke, right? It's just ridiculous. Same thing with Hong Kong. Democracy. Well, Hong Kong was never a democracy in the first place. What are you people talking about? China is a socialist country. I'm writing up another article for China Daily pretty quick here. China is a socialist democracy. This is a country that is run for the people. Okay? Period. End of discussion. The survival, the existence of the party depends on the party's ability to do its job. The authoritarian central government, which has the authority to carry out the laws, their job is to take care of the society. So their mission, their Magna Carta is the society, is the people. Absolutely right. Everything they do. And you say, well, and what are they doing? You want to know what they're doing? I can easily tell you what they're doing. You just go to the 5-year plan, which is, we're in the 14th 5-year plan, and you look at it. Or just, summary of China's 14th 5-year plan. Just Google it. Okay? See, that's what they're doing. Okay? They're building up the society for the people. Rich people get too far out of line. China says, no, Jack Ma. You're not going to become a megalomaniac billionaire and along the way without giving any shit whatsoever about the impact of what you're doing on society. We're not going to allow you to do that. Okay? Here in China, the government tells the billionaires what to do. The billionaires don't tell the government what to do. Okay? It's just that simple. So these are the realities. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right here, friends. Have a wonderful day. I'm heading out for a project in Hunan province for the next 3-4 days. I'm getting on a plane. I got a 5 o'clock flight. I'll see you later. Have a wonderful time. Keep your head straight. Be safe. Be wise. That's it. See you. Bye-bye.